True Sports episode 77 is on the air. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. It's crunch time. It's, it's crunch time in Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah.
Uh, still got still got a month and change left to go, and the waiver trade deadline is near. Tigers signed catcher Carson Kelly to a major league contract and designated Eric Haas for assignment. Thank God. Eric Haas was hitting 203 with a 5 something OPS. Let me check one more time.
Right.
And he was hitting 129 against lefties.
129. Ugh.
Against
Horrible.
lefties.
Awful.
Yeah, against lefties, damn it.
Hmm.
201 average, 530 OPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that OPS is freaking terrible. So, yeah, after that, that was last night was Eric Haas's final game as a Tiger. Over one with a walk. That's it.
Just,
And apparently a sacrifice bunt or something, or sacrifice fly.
hmm.
So Tigers hang on to win 4-3. Um, the Yankees are below 500. I see.
Horrible. 60 and 63 now. This is the worst season since 1990. I mean, we fell to this before 1995, but at least we made the wild card playoffs that year, only to lose to Seattle. But this is beyond bad for them. I mean, they didn't have much of a great start, and after Judd went down with his injury back in June, they have not been the same team since, and it's showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60 and 63, and the Red Sox beat them again today. Disgusting.
Wow. I know the Red Sox are playing at least somewhat better. Obviously, you gotta
Unfortunately,
admit.
yes. That's what I don't want to, but I will.
Yes, the Red Sox are 65-58. The Yankees 60 and 63, like you mentioned.
Yes. Ugh.
Yeah, Tigers 7.5 games back at 56 and 67. The Twins, they lost today. They're 64 and 60, still in first
Uh-oh.
place in the AL Comedy Central. I still don't think the Tigers are going to make the playoffs.
No, I seriously doubt it.
Teddy, yeah. Moving on to the NFL preseason, Teddy Bridgewater somehow did not deliver. I guess he's only getting warmed up in a 25-7 loss for the Lions against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some work cut out for him.
Yeah, but Nate Sudfeld, yeah, he threw a touchdown pass, but that's all he could do.
Yeah, so much for
Also
that.
threw also Nate Sudfeld also threw an interception
Hmm.
or two. Sudfeld threw two interceptions and one touchdown.
Oof.
Just one touchdown. That would be the only touchdown of the game. Even though it doesn't count,
Right.
it's still terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Jared Goff's the Lions' only good quarterback.
I think you should stay with the Rams.
Mm, Goff has actually
Well,
gotten better with the Lions.
hmm. Yeah, but hasn't delivered them, much for playoffs yet. At least Goff got to the Super Bowl with the Rams.
Right, right. But the more this new Lions coaching staff pushes him, the the better he'll do. Dan
Hmm.
Campbell, Ben Johnson,
I'll
Aaron
give you
Glenn,
that.
their defensive coordinator. Yeah, Ben Johnson's their offensive coordinator. He's a really damn really damn good offensive
I mean,
coordinator.
yes, the Lions made significant progress last year, but still, like,
8-2
we can't really eight and
finish.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
can't
respectable.
yeah, yeah, can't take away from the 1-6 start.
No.
They're just preparing for next year, and then they upgrade the running back department, and of course the cornerback department, or the defensive back department, and C.J. Gardner Johnson, Cam
Right.
Sutton, and Emmanuel Mosley. Cam Sutton has shown flashes in the secondary in the secondary defense. Is the passing defense has been for years upon years been an issue for the Lions, and I think they've just addressed them this past offseason with those three guys.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Holmes can
Unreal.
really freaking cook, I tell you.
Yes.
Jets and Giants, what's happening with them?
Well, Jets had a chance. They had a touchdown taken away from them from the against the Yucks tonight. I mean Bucks. I forget what the call was because I was doing another show and had the sound down. But they were going to go for two to try to take the lead, but the touchdown got called back. Giants had a decent win last night, so they're hanging around. Um, Rodgers, we're still waiting to see how he's going to do with the regular season. Yeah, I'm not expecting much from him in the preseason at all. I'm
Right.
really not.
Right. Those are preseasons, probably just a tryout type of session
Oh yeah,
for the reserves.
yeah. So I'm not too worried about this right now. It's only preseason. Stats don't count. The score doesn't really mean much. So I'm not really too concerned about it right now, unless you had a major injury. But other than that, no, I'm I'm, I'm content.
Right. All right. Oh, the Red Wings made a trade. Jeff Petrie got Jeff Petrie from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for Gustav Lindstrom and a 2025 fourth round draft pick. And the Montreal Canadiens, the Habs, will retain 50% of his salary, paid $2.34 million.
Lindstrom. Why does that name sound familiar?
Jeff Petrie?
No, Lindstrom.
Oh, Gustav Lindstrom.
Yeah, Lindstrom. That name sounds familiar.
Oh, Lindstrom with an N.
Oh, not the one I was. I was thinking of another one with this.
Nicholas Lidstrom does not have. Nicholas
Okay,
Lidstrom's last name does not have an N.
okay, that's what threw
It
me off.
sounds familiar, but it's not spelled
Yeah,
familiar. It's just not spelled exactly that way.
I get it. That's what confused me.
Exactly.
Right. Damn it. Okay.
All right, so it's now time for your True Sports Report. Go ahead, Lewis.
And away we go. All right, we'll start with the Major Leagues. Major League Baseball is. As right now at the bottom of the seventh, the D-backs are ahead of the Padres in Game 2 of a doubleheader, 8-1, with 2 out and nobody on. I'll explain why it's a doubleheader in a little bit. I think I understand why. Szynski is pitching and Cronworth is at bat. 2-2 in the bottom of the eighth between the Orioles and the A's, with a runner in second, 1 out. Perez is pitching and Butler is at bat. In the top of the seventh, we have this is no contest right here. In Game 2, the Rays are just pounding the Angels 15-1. Oh boy, runner on first, no one out. Barrera is pitching and Padres is at bat. This game was over. In a game that should be over soon, the Dodgers are leading the Marlins 3-1 in Game 2 with a runner on first and 1 out. Gray Tall is pitching and Chisholm Jr. is at bat. Jr. All the rest are final. As the Red Sox beat the Yankees again 8-1. Crawford got the win. Cole got the loss. Oh boy. And now it's 6 in a row. The Cubs over the Royals 6-4. Steele got the win. Singer got the loss, and Alzolay got the save. Watch out for the Cubs, guys. They're coming on strong. Game 1, the Dodgers beat the Marlins 3-1. Yarbrough got the win, Robertson got the loss, and Phillips got the save. In Game 1, D-backs over the Padres 6-4. Kelly got the win. Wardon got the loss, and Sewald got the save. Brewers over the Rangers 6-1. Perella got the win, and Dunning got the loss. Phillies had an easy time over the Nationals 12-3. Dominguez got the win, and Abbott got the loss. And Abbott said who was on first and was on second. No. Angels over the Rays 7-6 in Game 1. Canning got the win, Glasnow got the loss, and Lopez got the save. Blue Jays over the Reds 4-3. Bassett got the win, Williamson got the loss, and Romano got the save. Tigers over the Guardians 4-3. Manning got the win, Beebe got the loss, and Foley got the save.
Foley shut him down 1-2-3 at Progressive
Yeah.
Field.
Pirates over the Twins 7-4. Keller got the win, Gray got the loss, and Bednar got the save. Mariners over the Astros 10-3. Gilbert got the win, and Valdez got the loss. Mets are coming on strong now lately. They've won 3 in a row over the Cardinals, 4 in a row overall, with a convincing win over the Cardinals 13-2. Senga got the win, and Michaelis got the loss. Braves over the Giants 6-5. Yates got the win, Rogers got the loss, and Iglesias got the save. And finally, just went final, the Rockies over the White Sox 11-5. Freeland got the loss, and Shilnetis got the save. Okay, so we'll take a look at the standings here. Of course, these will be updated later on, but as of now, they go like this. In the American League East, the Orioles are at 75-47, have a 2.5 game lead, with the Rays at 74-51. Further back are the Blue Jays at 68-56, 8 back. The Red Sox are 65-58, 10.5 back, and the Yankees are now 15.5 back, 60-63. Ugh. Worst I've seen in a long time. To the Comedy Central, the Twins are the only team above 500 at 64-60, have a 5-game lead, with the Guardians at 59-65. Tigers 56-67, 7.5 back. The White Sox 48-75, 15.5 back, and the Royals 40-85, 24.5 back. Oof. Over to the West, the Rangers 72-51, a 2.5 game lead over the Astros at 70-54. The Mariners 66-55, 4 back. The Angels 61-63, 11.5 back, look like a long shot now. And the A's are still the A's at 34-88, 37.5 back. Can they break the record for the worst baseball season in history? It's a possibility still, folks. Kind of like probably not, but still doable. Oof. It can happen. Okay, National League. Braves, best team in baseball, 80-42, have a commanding 13.5 game lead over the Phillies at 67-56. The Marlins, 64-60, 17 back. Mets are still 8 below 500 at 58-66, 23 back, but they have now won 4 straight. And the Nationals, 56-68, 25 back. To the Central, the Brewers, 67-57. 3 back of the Cubs are 3 back at 63-59. Watch out here. Also 3 back are the Reds at 64-60. The Pirates, 55-68, 11.5 back, and the Cardinals, 54-70, 13 back. A major disappointment this year in baseball are the Cardinals. Well, so are the Mets too. Well, you know. Okay, to the West, Dodgers, yeah, they're pulling away from the division right now. 75-47. The Giants are 11.5 back at 64-59. The D-backs 63-61, 13 back. Padres 59-65, 17 back, and the Rockies on a Rocky Mountain low, 48-75, 27.5 back. It looked like early in the year was going to be a race between the Dodgers and the Giants, but now the Dodgers have just pulled the rug right out from under it. All right, so tomorrow's schedule goes like this. As we go into since we go into Sunday now. All right. So to start things off at 1:05, the Mariners will take on the Astros. At 1:35, the Red Sox take on the Yankees, and the Giants take on the Braves. 1:40, your Tigers take on the Guardians, and the Blue Jays take on the Reds. 2:10, the Pirates take on the Twins. 2:15, the Mets take on the Cardinals, going for the sweep. 2:20, the Royals take on the Cubs. 2:35, the Brewers take on the Rangers. 3:10, the White Sox take on the Rockies. 4:07, the Orioles take on the A's. And at 7 p.m., the Phillies take on the Nationals. All right. Okay, so now we'll go over to exhibition football. And some of these games are still in progress. Well, so we'll run them down anyway. All right. With 2:34 to go in the fourth, the Broncos are holding to a 2018 lead over the 49ers. Stidman has 130 yards passing. McLaughlin is rushing for 32 yards on 4 carries, and receiving is Jay Virgil, wide receiver. With 1:40 to go in the third quarter, the Raiders are leading the Rams 27-17. Hoyer has passed for 134 yards and 1 interception. Rivas has 42 rushing yards on 9 carries, and Dorsett, Tony's boy, has 78 yards receiving. Go get him. Seahawks over the Cowboys right now. 1:59 to go in the second quarter. Locke, 119 yards passing. Charbonnet, 31 yards rushing. Oh, boy. And Tolbert has 66 receiving yards. The rest are final as the Colts beat the Bears 24-17. Ellinger, 124 passing yards. He also has 60 rushing yards and 1 touchdown and 8 carries. And Fountain has 86 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. The Bucks over the Jets 13-6. Trask had 218 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Zachy Boy Wilson had 41 yards rushing on 2 carries. You got to do better than that, guys. And Jarrett has 84 receiving yards. If Danny Boy wants to if Zachy Boy wants to keep his job, he would do better than that. All right. Patriots over the Packers 21-17. Clifford had 137 yards passing. Wilson had 63 rushing yards on 15 carries, and Heath had 75 receiving yards. Titans over the Vikings 24-16. Mullins had 151 passing yards. Chestnut had 13 carries on 98 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, and Muse had 46 receiving yards. I'll have to go down here. Okay, I got it now. Moving right along. Oh. No contest here. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The Chiefs blew out the Cardinals 38-10. Tune had 133 passing yards. Pennant had 41 receiving yards and 6 carries, and Rice had 96 receiving yards. It almost disappeared from me. How do you like that? All right. Today we had the Jaguars over the Lions 25-7. Bethard had 138 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bigsby had 70 rushing yards and 13 carries, and Cooks had 69 receiving yards. Dolphins over the Texans 28-3. Thompson had 157 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Ahmad 99 rushing yards on 12 carries, and Boone had 35 receiving yards. And the Steelers over the Bills 27-15. Sorry, Diane. Allen had 112 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Warren had 62 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and Shorter had 47 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Earlier scores this week, the Browns and Eagles played to an 18-18 draw. Kind of weird. Thompson passed for 164 yards. Sermon rushed for 54 yards on 5 carries and 1 touchdown. Now Watkins Jr. had 138 receiving yards and a touchdown. I mean, it was weird because it was an 18-18 tie. You don't see that very often. Giants edged the Panthers last night, 21-19. Taylor had 90 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Blackshear had 31 rushing yards on 8 carries and 1 touchdown, and Smith had 59 or 58 or 59 receiving yards. And I think there was one more. Yes, there was one more. The Bengals and Falcons tied 13-13. Heineke had 162 passing yards. Iggy had 14 carries on 61 yards, and Lascivus had 44 receiving yards. Tomorrow, the Saints and Chargers will play at 7:05. That will be on the NFL Network. And Monday, the Ravens will take on the Commanders. But I think there's going to be more games tomorrow. In fact, I'm thinking to check on NFL right now because there is a weather situation that is coming as as Hurricane Hillary is approaching California, and it's causing some havoc already with some of the games. No, actually, it's just the Saints and the Chargers tomorrow. That may change. We'll see. All right, so we'll move on to soccer, as we had the third place game of the Women's World Cup this morning, I should say, as Sweden beat Australia 2-0. Tomorrow is the big one, as England will take on Spain bright and early at 6 a.m. Okay. Breakfast and soccer. Any questions, folks? Yeah, right. Okay. So now on to the news headlines of the day. And it goes like this. The NBA launched an inquiry into circumstances surrounding 76ers star James Harden's public comment of Sixers president Daryl Morey, sources told ESPN. The league office is believed to be pursuing an understanding of whether Harden was pretending 23-24 holdout in violation of the league's CBA or had been refinancing past contract discussions with the organization that might constitute a salary cap circumstance, sources said. Harden indicated that his public comments calling Morey a liar this past week had only been a response to Morey ending trade discussions with the expectation that Harden would start the season with the Sixers. Neither the Sixers or Harden would be in violation of any league guidelines should that be communicated with league officials. The Sixers informed Harden that there has not been a suitable trade with his desired team, the LA Clippers, and that not expected to report to their training camp next month, which Harden planned to do so. Despite public speculation, Harden made no previous allegations of a previous handshake agreement with the Sixers on a future contract. Harden was in China Monday promoting his new line of Adidas shoes. Harden said, I do not wish to be a part of any organization that Morey is a part of. Ugh. The Anaheim Ducks acquired defenseman Lila Lebeskin in a trade with the Sabres. The Ducks sent a fourth round draft choice in 2025 to the Sabres last night. The Ducks acquired the pick from the Wild in a deal that sent John Klingenberg to the Wild last March. Lebeskin, a 5-year vet who began his NHL career with the Coyotes in 2018, then went to the Leafs in February of 2022, signed a 2-year deal with the Sabres in July of that year. Last year, that is. He's played in 68 games last season with 14 points for the Sabres. He led the Sabres defensemen in hits and blocked shots. As I mentioned, there's a storm brewing in California. So MLS and MLB have altered their game schedules in California this weekend, as Hurricane Hilary was approaching the Gulf Coast of Mexico's Pacific coast as of yesterday as a powerful Category 4 storm. Nothing to be taken lightly, folks. In MLB, the D-backs are at the Padres, the Rays at the Angels, and the Marlins at the Dodgers. They played split doubleheaders today. The first game played at San Diego against the D-backs at 3:10. The second was at 8:40. The Rays and the Angels began Game 1 at 4:07. Game 2 was at 9:07. The Dodgers and the Marlins Game 1 began at 3 p.m., with the second game starting at 9:10, and either are still all in progress or have just ended. And we pray for the folks in California. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said he was grateful that they were proactive in the thought it would be an inconvenience for people who have tickets on Sunday, but at least to get ahead of the situation made sense. In MLS, the LA Galaxy versus St. Louis and LFAC Colorado, that schedule was pushed to Sunday night. Both games have been pushed back. The Galaxy versus Colorado has been pushed back down to October 14th, while the LAFC versus St. Louis will be played on Wednesday at BMO Stadium. Let's hope so. The NFL was set to hold a conference call with the Saints and Chargers on yesterday regarding what to do about Sunday's preseason game in Inglewood. Possibilities range from canceling the game to moving up the start time to 7:05 tomorrow. So we're still, as of now, that game is still on for tomorrow night at 7:05. But it may change. We'll just have to wait and see. All right. Moving along. Jonathan Toews is stepping away from the NHL, but insists he is not retiring from the game overall. The former Blackhawks captain and unrestricted free agent announced on social media yesterday that although he is not going to full retirement, he is taking time away from the game this season. Toews was limited to 53 games last season with 31 points overall, 16 assists and 15 goals, because of declining health at the midway point of the season. At the time, he said he felt like no choice but to step away for a while and focus on his health. In the final year of his 8-year, $84 million deal. Whoa. It raised questions of his future playing in Chicago or elsewhere in the seasons to come. Blackhawks general manager Kyle Davidson did not wait long after the Blackhawks season ended in April to confirm that Toews' deal was not being renewed, therefore becoming an unrestricted free agent. Toews spent his entire career with the Blackhawks. That dates back to 2008, where he won 3 Stanley Cups. He has 372 goals, 883 points in 1,067 NHL games. The NBA season will begin with the defending champion Nuggets facing the Lakers, as the Nuggets will raise the championship banner at the Ball Arena for the first time. The league released its schedule for the upcoming season back on Thursday. The Nuggets begin opening night against the Lakers on October 24th, which is now 74 days away. This will be LeBron's 21st NBA season. I said earlier, perhaps his final season in NBA, but I seriously doubt that since he does want to play at least 1 year with his son, depending on when he gets out. In Game 2, the Nuggets will face the Warriors and will face off Devin Booker and Chris Paul. That'll be something to see. October 25th, the Celtics will take on the Knicks, and the Spurs will play Victor Wembanyama as they take on the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic. That's going on the calendar there as well. The Sixers will take on the Sixers with new coach Nick Nurse will take on the Bucks on October 26th. October 28th, the Knicks will take on the Jazz. Christmas Day has a slew of games, starting with the Knicks and the Bucks, followed by Warriors and Nuggets, the Lakers and the Celtics, the Sixers and the Heat, and for the late night crowd, the Mavericks versus the Suns. Martin Luther King Day will feature the Rockets versus the Sixers, Spurs versus the Hawks, Warriors versus the Grizzlies, and the Thunder taking on the Lakers. Sounds like a pretty good schedule for the early part of the season. I like it. Okay, moving along. All right. The hockey world lost a legend this week as defenseman Bob Baun, who won 4 Stanley Cups with the Leafs in the 1960s, passed away at the age of 86. Yes, folks, once upon a time, the Leafs were actually that good. Baun spent 14 years with the Leafs, playing 739 games for Toronto, had 29 goals and 140 assists. Given the name Boomer for his big hits, he played 3 more seasons with the Oakland Seals and then with the Red Wings, finishing up with 37 goals and 187 assists. Perhaps his most famous moment came in 1964 when he broke his leg in Game 6 against the Red Wings, but then returned. His leg was frozen, but he returned overtime and scored the game winner to even the series up. The Leafs went on to win their 3rd straight title and one more in 1967. Kind of like pulling a Willis Reed. Yeah. Former West Virginia basketball coach Bob Huggins entered a 12-month diversion program to reverse a drunk driving arrest. Yeah, good luck. Huggins was scheduled for a formal arraignment on Thursday, according to court records in Pittsburgh. The hearing was canceled last month after he entered a treatment program. Under the 1-year probation period, can be done in 6 months if he meets all conditions, including the completion of an alcohol treatment program. Continuing, Huggins was assessed $2,810 in court costs and fees, including $300 for an alcohol highway safety program. His license was suspended for 60 days. Huggins stopped his SUV in the middle of traffic in Pittsburgh on June 16th with a shredded tire. A breath test determined his blood alcohol content was twice the legal limit in the state of Pennsylvania and then was arrested. West Virginia had announced the next day that Huggins resigned based in part of a text message that was sent from the cell phone of his wife to the athletic director. A week later, an intern replacement was named for the 2023-2024 season. It was not until July 8th that Huggins released a statement saying that he never officially stepped down and wanted to keep his job. He also checked into a rehab facility. West Virginia has maintained that Huggins resigned even though he had accused the university of issuing a false statement set in his name that he did not write or review. Add to that, Huggins used of an anti-gay slur during a radio interview in May. After the incident, Huggins was suspended 3 games and lost $1 million in salary, and his contract was reduced to a year-by-year review. Under the contract he signed in 2021, the university could have fired Huggins for conduct resulting in criminal charges, whether or not there was a conviction. Oof, wow. Huggins entered the Basketball Hall of Fame last September as the 3rd all-time coach in wins. Only Coach K of Duke and Jim Boeheim of Syracuse have more wins. Nuggets point guard Jamal Murray is out of the World Cup for Canada after needing more time to recovery from his time to a run in the finals in June. The decision does not come as a big surprise, as Murray did not travel with Team Canada for a series of games in Europe last week. He did, however, take part in training camp in Toronto last week. Murray, who tore his ACL in 2021, had 2 years left on his contract and is eligible to sign up to a 3-year extension worth up to $144 million with the Nuggets this summer. He also has the option to wait until next summer to extend his contract and could be eligible for a $300 million deal if he makes an All-NBA team. But I don't see that becoming much of a problem. Canada has not qualified for the Olympics since 2000 and has not medaled at any world competition since 1936. However, even without Murray, Canada is feeling their strongest team in his absence thanks to Shai Alexander, who was also born in Canada. I think. Moving along. Okay, we recovered that. Lionel Messi, yep, he did it again. He scored 6 goals since joining Miami, and they beat 4-1 in a League Cup match, and now head to a final. Oh boy! The first half goals by Messi and Josep Martinez and Jordi Alba skated the visiting team to an easy win over the Philadelphia Union and earned a spot in the first ever League Cup final. Messi has 9 goals in his first 6 games since coming over to Miami. Actually, now it's 7. He scored tonight. And they are facing Nashville as we speak. Just to see here. And it is now, let's see if that's going to round up there. Miami has won on penalty kicks 2-1 over Nashville. So now Messi has a title in the States as well. Congratulations. Wow. I mean, Messi is something else. All right. Moving on. Miami also earned a spot in the 2024 Champions Cup, a first in the team's history to reach the final. For the opposing manager of the Union, Jim Curtin said it was a disappointment after losing the MLS Finals last season on penalty kicks, losing in the semifinals of this tournament, and losing the Eastern Conference Finals in the MLS 2021 season. It takes a complete effort to have a chance against a team like Miami, said Curtin after the match. For 20 to 30 minutes, we made too many mistakes, and they punished us. That was in the first half. They were just too good. Hard to lose and give up 4 goals. That part hurts. It does not feel normal to walk off that pitch after giving up 4 goals. This was the Union's first loss at home the entire season. Mercy. The Hurricanes, the Carolina Hurricanes, have extended the lease at their arena in Raleigh for the next 20 years. The extension announced comes with major renovations to the building as the development of the land around it into a dining and entertainment district with multifamily homes, a hotel, and a separate music venue. Hey, sounds like my kind of place. The agreement was made in conjunction with North Carolina State because the school plays some of their home games, men's basketball games, in the arena, and football games across the parking lot, setting aside 5 acres for decade tailgate space. Was part of the deal. The deal includes a $300 million investment far from the city of Raleigh and Wake County, and $200 million from the team in 5 years, $400 million over 10 years, and $800 million over the next 20 years, along with 100% of renovations to the arena where the Hurricanes have called home since 1999. For those of you who are around my age, the Carolina Hurricanes were once known as the Hartford Whalers, which makes me feel pretty old. Celtics forward Kristaps Porzingis has announced he'll miss the upcoming FIBA tournament due to plantar fasciitis. Porzingis was set to play Latvia, the World Cup starting next week in Asia, posting on social media back on August 15th that a recent MRI resulted in the decision not to play. He noted there was a joint discussion made with the medical staff and the coaching staff with the Celtics. Though he won't be out there on the court, Porzingis said he will be present with the team and will continue to support the team as much as possible. And the NBA is using its new in-season tournament showcase to showcase their newest star. The league announced its group play schedule for the tournament back last week on the ESPN's NBA Today program. And the Spurs led this year's by the top draft Victor Wembanyama. The only team to have 2 of their 4 group play games played on ESPN and TNT. All 30 teams will play 4 games as part of the regular 82 season game schedule against conference opponents. They are grouped together when the league announced the new tournament during the summer league games last month. The 4-group stage will consist of 2 home games and 2 road games, and will take place with 7 dates in November, which are 4 Fridays in November and the last 3 Tuesdays in November. November 7th is Election Day, so no games will take place on that day. The Spurs, who are in a group with the Kings, Warriors, Wolves, and Thunder, open pool play on November 10th against the Wolves. They will face Shai Alexander and the Thunder on the 14th, followed by Domantas Sabonis with the Kings on the 17th and Stephen Curry on the 24th. The first day of the tournament action begins on November 3rd. We'll have the Knicks face the Bucks, the Mavericks facing the Nuggets. Both of those games will air on ESPN. It will end on November 28th as the Bucks take on the Heat before the final group stage game as the Kings and the Warriors play in a rematch of their first round playoff series. If you ask me, I still think this is a dumb idea. Sorry. I'm just not a big fan of this new group thing. Oh, history is going to be made here, as Doris Burke will become the first woman to serve as a game analyst on television for a championship final in the 4 major sports. Well, 5 if you count MLS. ESPN announced earlier this week that Burke and Doc Rivers will join Mike Breen on ESPN and ABC this season. The schedule was announced actually on Thursday. Burke has called the finals on ESPN Radio for the last 3 seasons and has been an analyst for ESPN games since 2017. She's also been a sideline reporter for ABC's NBA games for the past 9 seasons during the finals. Burke and Rivers will replace Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, who were laid off as part of job cuts by the network this season. I don't know if it's actually a good thing or a bad thing that Van Gundy and Jackson are gone. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Yeah. Difference of opinion. Okay. The Eagles made a number of personnel moves, including releasing quarterback Greedy Williams. Williams was signed to a 1-year deal in March, but was not able to climb up the depth charts this summer. He spent the last 3 seasons playing for the Browns and started in 21 games. His release comes the same day as his brother Rodius, who also plays at the same position at quarterback, was released by the New York Giants. So the same day, and it was with the brothers. That's a shame. Oh, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa started in their 28-3 victory over the Texans this afternoon. Tua has not played since Christmas Day against the Packers last season, where he suffered a concussion and was shut down for the rest of the season. The Dolphins had the opening possession, and Tua's first down pass was intercepted by Texans' Denzel Perryman. He recovered by finishing 5 for 7 for 61 yards before being replaced by Skylar Thompson. The Dolphins released a list of players not expected to play against Houston and included wide receivers Jalen Waddle and left tackle Terron Armstead. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill and running back Raheem Mostert, quarterback Xavier Howard, safety Jevon Holland, and linebacker James Holmes were not on the list and saw playing time and got the win. Okay. Moving right along. Saints tight end Jimmy Graham was arrested in Southern California after experiencing a medical episode, the Saints sent a statement last night. Graham was arrested on suspicion of a DUI of a controlled substance after police found him wandering in traffic, according to a report by TMZ. The Saints team doctors said Graham suffered a seizure that resulted in him having feel disoriented. Graham was taken into custody by local authorities and then transported to a local hospital for an evaluation for what Dr. John Amos believes to be a seizure and had spent the night undergoing medical testing. Amos met Graham to the hospital and was overseeing care at the time. He was released from the hospital today as they continue preparations for tomorrow's game against the Chargers. Very scary situation. The Reds called up prospect Noelvi Marte while adding another rookie to a potentially great class, as they're looking for their first division title in more than 10 years. Marte was acquired by the Reds in a blockbuster trade last season. It's Luis Castillo to the Mariners. It has been a model of consistency across 2 levels this season, with 11 home runs and 18 stolen bases. Since moving to AAA, Marte has played in nearly every game at third base, where the frame fits better than at shortstop. Still, his long home runs have and power from the right side have been his hallmarks since he is signed for nearly $2 million as an amateur and leaped up into the prospects list, including ranking 37th in Kylie McDaniel's midseason prospect update. At the time of this article, the Reds were 64 and 59 and hold on to the final wildcard spot and trailed the Brewers by 2 games in the NL Central, which is a lot better than the AL Central, that's for sure. Ugh. Rangers signed second baseman Colton Wong to a minor league deal yesterday. Among the previous moves acquiring defenders like Enrique Hernandez from the Red Sox and Ahmed Rosario from the Guardians, Wong is a second baseman with experience in the outfield. He was released by Seattle on August 3rd. He has 84 home runs with 397 RBIs with the Cardinals, Brewers, and Mariners. Wong is expected to join AAA Oklahoma City and be ready if the Dodgers need middle infield help. Without a second baseman, the Dodgers have used outfielder Mookie Betts in 40 games this season. And I got something interesting about Mookie Betts in just a few minutes. You're going to love this story, guys. Oops, wrong way again. All right. Moving along here. Okay. Yankee left-hander Carlos Rodon is expected to come off the injured list and start Tuesday against the Nationals. That according to Aaron Boone. Rodon went on the injured list on August 7th with a strained left hamstring. Boone also said that Luis Severino has also struggled this summer. He is expected to return on Wednesday. The Yankees are now at 50 and 63 ahead of this series against the Red Sox and have now lost 6 straight, counting today. Johnny Brito, Garrett Cole, and Clark Schmidt were named the stars for this series. Rodon in his first year of a 6-year, $162 million deal he signed in December. He missed the first 3 months of the year with forearm and back injuries before making his debut on July 7th. Rodon in 6 starts has an ERA of 7.33, has given up 8 home runs in 27 innings, which is disgusting. Severino is even worse at 2-8 with an ERA of 7.98 in 15 starts. He has given up 7 runs in 3 outings in July. Was 1-6 with an ERA of 11.08 in 8 outings since July 1st. Now that is sick. Yuck. All right, and of course, players are not the only idiots in the league, but managers can be idiots too, as San Francisco Giants manager Gabe Kapler was suspended 1 game and fined for returning to the dugout after he was already injected. What a bonehead. Kapler was ejected in the 4th inning by home plate umpire Chad Wishton after arguing a questionable strike call in Tuesday's game against the Rays. It was his 2nd ejection of the season and his 7th overall in his career. He served the suspension last night as the Giants took on the Braves. The Giants were 64 and 57 and trailed the Dodgers by 10 games in the NL West and lost 8 of their last 11 games. Yet they were still a half game up for the wildcard spot. The Giants at that time had only won 10 of 26 games since July 18th, and they were only a game and a half out of first place at that time. Boy, has that changed in a hurry. The Ravens reached a deal with former number 1 draft pick Jadeveon Clowney, announced by the Ravens yesterday, providing much-needed depth on the outside linebacker position. The deal was worth up to $2.5 million, but could jump to as much as $6 million, according to sources. The Ravens have shown a lot of interest in free agent rushes this summer, and they met with Kyle Van Noy and Dwayne Smoot. Clowney, selected first overall in 2014, received a contract offer from the Ravens during the visit on August 8th, but left without a contract. He then made a visit to the Jaguars last Sunday. By joining the Ravens, Clowney reunites with Anthony Weaver, the Ravens assistant and coach and defensive lines coach. Weaver worked with Clowney for 3 years when he was the defensive linesman coach for the Houston Texans. Clowney is a 3-time Pro Bowler with 43 sacks, which is more than the current linebackers have in total at 28.5. Clowney has played for the Browns the last 2 seasons on back-to-back 1-year contracts. Yeah. All right. Oops. The Detroit Lions waived injured wide receiver Denzel Mims after being acquired in a trade from the Jets last month. Mims suffered the injury during a recent training camp practice, then suffered a calf injury in rehab, a source confirmed to ESPN, and he will become an unrestricted free agent. Because the trade was conditional on Mims making the roster, the Lions would get back their 2025 sixth round pick, while a 2025 seventh round pick will return to New York. The move freed up space to add another receiver at depth by signing former Chargers wideout Jason Moore in a corresponding move. Before the injury, though, Mims was impressive in camp, but the Lions receiver core had taken a beating as Amon St. Brown suffered an ankle injury and Jason Williams sidelined for the preseason with a hamstring injury. Yes. Like I said, when it rains, it pours. Okay. Uh,
I'm not worried.
the Dodgers, of course, are on a hot streak as they've now won last night, 11th straight victory. Austin Barnes in a solo home run the eighth to give the Dodgers a 1-0 victory over the Brewers in a real old-fashioned pitcher's duel. The Dodgers swept the Brewers in the series and outscored them 14-3. It was the 12th time this season the Dodgers blanked their opponents. Lance Lynn dueled the 2020 Cy Young winner Corbin Burns, who retired 10 batters in a row, including 6 strikeouts, but neither factored in the decision. Lynn allowed 4 hits on 7 innings, struck out 3, and walked 1. Burns gave up 2 hits in 7 innings for his 6th scoreless outing of the year. He struck out 9 batters and walked 2. Caleb Ferguson received the win after coming in relief as 7-3 on the year, and Evan Phillips recorded his 18th save of the season. When you're hot, you're hot. It's going to be, and the Dodgers in the month of August at this point were 15-1 and won 10 in a row at home. They could seriously challenge the Braves in the NLCS, assuming both make it. White Sox star player Tim Anderson has 6-game suspension for fighting with Jose Ramirez and triggered off another version of base brawl, was reduced to 5 games in settlement by the league. Anderson had begun serving suspension as the Rockies began a 3-game series last night. Ramirez served a 2-game suspension after originally serving for 3 games. In a statement made on Instagram, Anderson made an apology for his actions. Yeah, a little late for that, aren't you, buddy? Anderson was given a more harsher penalty for instigating the fight in the first place on August 5th, when both he and Ramirez both faced off in the middle of the infield like 2 heavyweight boxers ready to kill each other. Anderson connected with a couple of punches before Ramirez dropped him with a blow to the face. Ooh. The fight started when Ramirez had slid headfirst into second base between Anderson's legs with an RBI double. He seemed to have been bothered by a hard tag and then jumped to his feet. Both players exchanged words, with Anderson pointing at Anderson's face as second base umpire Malachi Moore tried to break them up. Anderson then tried to drop his glove, then challenged Ramirez by raising his arms in a boxer's stance. Both players threw punches, with Ramirez connecting with a blind shot that dropped Anderson for a loop as both teams joined in and cleared benches and became a version of base brawl, of course. Guardians manager Terry Francona, closer Emmanuel Clase, and third base coach Mike Sarbar were suspended 1 game each, and White Sox manager Pedro Grifol was also suspended for 1 game. Hey, boys, play nice, will you? Yeah, right. Tampa Bay Bucks wide receiver Russell Gage will miss the entire season after suffering a knee injury in a joint practice session with the Jets back on Wednesday, sources told ESPN. Gage was carted off the practice field in Florham Park, New Jersey, which is 5 minutes from my house. No, actually, it is. He was in tears as he was leaving the field, with his teammates taking a knee around him. Yeah, what a sight! What a sorry sight, though. It's pretty sad. We here believe that it was a serious injury, and we will wait to hear the final results, said Bucks coach Todd Bowles after the practice. The injury to Gage was non-contact and was sustained as he was backpedaling on 7-for-7 drills. Injuries have plagued Gage's time with the Bucks. He was dealing with a hamstring injury all spring and early camp, but was in practice in camp all week. Gage took a pay cut to remain with the team this season. In his first season with the Bucks last year, he caught 51 passes for 426 yards, 5 touchdowns in 13 games with 4 starts. Gage led the Bucks wildcard game against the Cowboys on a stretcher and was taken to the hospital and was diagnosed with a concussion and took 3 weeks to recover. Gage is listed as a start on the depth chart along with Mike Evans and Chris Goodwin. His absence would give more playing time to Trey Palmer, Devin Tompkins, and David Moore, among other receivers on the roster. Ugh. And one person made a comment saying, "Glad I did not pick him. Glad I did not pick him on any of my drafts." Okay.
I just saw a Gordon Ramsay Hexclad commercial on NFL Network.
Yeah. And I probably
Awesome.
said, "Get out!" Yeah. I had to do it. No, the play's all wrong. No, I can't take that. Get out, back in line. Sorry.
I love that show, Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen, The American Dream, premiering September 29th. Wait, September 28th, rather. That's on Thursday on Fox. Thursday, September 28th.
Could be a nightmare for some people. Titans quarterback Will Levis left the joint practice with the Vikings. That was described as a lower body injury, according to sources. Levis participated in most of the practices, including those 7-on-7 drills. Titans coach Mike Vrabel went in before 2 minutes before the period the teams did over the last 15 minutes of practice. We planned to let him go today, well, actually now 2 days ago, said Vrabel, but they took him in and see where he was for today's game against the Vikings. Thursday was the last day of practice. Levis is one of 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Ryan Tannehill has not played in preseason since 2019. If Levis was unable to play, the Titans would have went with Mark Willis for the entire game, or have Tannehill take some snaps. Willis played 42 snaps in the preseason opener versus the Bears, while Levis played 30. My brother's a Bears fan. Okay. Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams is likely out for the rest of the preseason. That, according to Coach Dave Campbell. Williams exited last night's joint practice with the Jaguars early to enter the locker room after hurting his leg in mid-stride as he was running a deep ball route on 7-on-7 drills and was grabbing his right hamstring area. Yow. Williams will already miss the first 6 games of the regular season after violating the league's gambling policy, so this will likely end his on-the-field availability. He was eligible to participate in all off-season and preseason activities, including preseason games, before the suspension takes place at the final roster countdown. He misses the reps. That's a chance to give full speed to the timing of pass game, lining up all of it. Moving versus pass through the zone is just the time on task, Campbell said. So there will be a setback. But listen, you take it as it comes. I'm not going to sweat out as long as he continues to grind on the playbook and get it right. We'll see how that goes. However, Campbell and the Lions took the challenge, the ruling on whether they're able to treat the injury while he is suspended. Technically, no, but we are looking into that, said Campbell. Okay. Ooh. Titans wide receiver Treylon Burks sustained an LCL sprain during practice on Wednesday. The Vikings, according to Joseph's MRI, sources told ESPN. The report first came from the NFL Network. The injury will sideline Burks for several weeks. The Titans opened the regular season against the Saints on September 10th. During the week, Burke got open in the secondary and got caught up in a deep pass from quarterback Ryan Tannehill during the team period. After making the catch, Burke's forward momentum caused him to stumble and lose his balance as he was about to reach the end zone. Like, he got up and spiked the ball in disgust. All right, frustration. Well, the trainers helped him off the field. Then they had the Bucks lie on the ground. Then they had Burks lie on the ground as they took a look at his left leg before he was carted off. Teammates DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry, along with general manager Rand Calhoun, consoled Burks as he was being placed on the cart. Ugh, just awful. Yeah, what can I tell you? Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams and rookie edge rusher Tyree Wilson were both expected to take the field August 16th in a joint practice against the Rams. Adams injured his lower leg on a hit he took running on a slant pattern on the first play of team drills during a joint practice with the 49ers last Friday. He was seen wearing a sleeve on his right leg and was limping before they had their first preseason game against the Niners last Sunday. Ouch. Ooh, boy, that's ugly. Wilson, the Raiders' first-round pick, who was 7th overall, was added to the non-football injury list. Raiders coach Josh McDaniels told reporters that Adams said he would be there. Wilson saw his college career at Texas Tech and 3 games early as he suffered a broken right foot that required surgery. The operation and follow-up procedure to remove hardware from his foot kept Wilson off the field, and the Raiders will help ease him in. The Raiders and Rams had another joint practice before they faced each other earlier today. All right. I think I got one more to do, or we'll just move on to other stuff here. And don't forget, like I said before, tomorrow is the oh, here's the story I wanted to mention. And you're gonna like this. There's a new baby girl named for Mookie Betts. The Dodgers slugger was on the on-deck circle awaiting at bat at home on August 2nd against the A's when a fan that said if Betts hits a home run, the man would give his soon-to-be born daughter the nickname Mookie. I kid you not. I heard about this and just laughed about it. But the fan was serious. Betts recounted the social media video. I turned to him and said, no, man, that's not necessary to do. Betts again urged the fan not to do it, saying, your wife wouldn't like it. Oh boy, that's hilarious. Betts walked up to the plate and hit a monster home run of 436 feet for his longest home run as a Dodger. After circling the bases, he first pumped the fan named Giuseppe Mancuso. A few weeks later, he sees the birth certificate on Twitter, or now we call it X, and it read Francesca Mookie Mancuso. Betts replied, I can't wait to meet her. That's going to be my girl, and maybe your goddaughter at that. Mancuso introduced his daughter to the world on a social media account, tagging the Dodgers, Betts, and the network covered it, saying, a bet is a bet. Mancuso's wife gave birth to the baby girl on August 7th. For the record, Betts' real name is Marcus Lynn Betts. He took the name of Mookie after former NBA player Mookie Blaylock. Well, now that makes sense. Imagine that. He named his daughter after you. Now that's something. Yeah. And of course, the Yankees are, of course, slipping through the cracks. As, like I said before, now 3 games below 500 at 50 and 63. This is the worst I've seen since 1990. It has been. It's been 33 years since they've had a season like this. Kind of reminds me of the 1980 season as well. Ugh, that was bad enough. 79 and 80 were just horrific. Oh boy. All right, so we'll go through some other scores now for the late games.
Mm-hmm.
And they run this way. All right. With 7:58 to go in the third, the Seahawks lead the Cowboys 17-14. Look now has 119 yards passing. Dowell has 38 yards rushing on 8 carries, and Tolbert has 86 yards receiving. Raiders beat the Rams 34-17. O'Connell has 163 passing yards. Rivers ends up with 42 rushing yards on 9 carries, and Dorsett ends up with 76 receiving yards. Tony, you got to be proud of your son. Just to see if I missed anything else. Yeah, I think those are the last two in the NFL for tonight. Oh, we got another one here. The 49ers edge the Broncos 21-20. Lance has 173 yards passing, 1 interception, 1 touchdown. McLaughlin, 45 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Bell finishes with 114 receiving yards. McLaughlin. Every time I think of the name, I think of John McLaughlin. Yuck. No comment. Baseball. We'll finish that up. Or, assuming they have all finished up. Yeah, those late Saturday games, folks. They'll get to you. Oops, that's not it. As I said, the Yankees now lost. They've now lost 6 in a row. Just completely embarrassing. Ugh. All right, bottom 9. The Rays are having an easy time with the Angels, 18-4. Runners on first and second, 2 out. Chris Wells pitching. Chanel is at bat. Let's face it, folks. That game is over. Marlins. Yeah. That game was over, and that game was over a long time ago. D-backs finished the Pirates up 8-1 in Game 2. Jarvis got the win. Darvish got the loss. In 10 innings, the Orioles over the A's 7-2. Bautista got the win. Martinez got the loss. 7-2 in 10 innings. Okay, that's kind of weird. And the Dodgers did beat the Marlins 3-1. As Urias got the win. Garnett got the loss. And Retinol got the save. And just see if I missed anything else. No, I did not. Okay. So just one more thing here, of course. WNBA, well, the Liberty finished off the Aces in the Commissioner's Cup as they finally won their first ever title, whether it was in season or postseason, and congratulations on that. Okay, that'll do it for me. I'll turn it back over to you, Taylor.
All right, episode 77 in the can. True Sports. We'll be back a week from tomorrow. That's next Sunday on the 27th. And I believe I'll give you a time.
All right.
All right. So till then, for Lewis Tenor, I'm Taylor Phillips. Ta-ta.
Good night, folks.